desde Las Vegas, Nevada. Iniciamos con el programa Hablando de bienes y raíces con Castillo y sus invitados. Comenzamos.
Muy buenos días, Las Vegas, ¿cómo están? Yo soy Castillo, estamos comenzando su programa de Hablando de Bienes Raíces con Castillo y sus invitados. Estamos aquí en el estudio de Equity Title, una vez más trayéndole los expertos en bienes raíces, y hoy día el cuarto está que estalla de energía porque tenemos un gran grupo de agentes de bienes raíces con prestamistas que están aquí para hablar de qué es lo que está pasando ahorita en el mercado de bienes raíces. Y quiero dar la bienvenida a mis invitados. Vamos a comenzar con Tammar. Tammar, buenos días, Tammar.
Buenos días, JC, ¿cómo están todos? Gracias por atender en este podcast y les vamos a estar hablando de muchas cosas buenas.
Claro que sí. Y también tenemos a Andrea y Leslie. Andrea, muy buenos días.
Muy buenos días, gracias por la invitación.
Claro que sí. Y tenemos a Leslie. Leslie, good morning.
Good morning.
Solo para que sepan, Leslie habla español. Leslie, buenos días.
Buenos días.
Claro que sí, claro que sí. Le quiero dar muchas gracias porque yo sé que están súper ocupadas, pero hoy día queríamos hablar de ciertos tópicos. Uno de ellos es el mercado de bienes raíces. Everybody thinks that right now is not the best time to purchase, which I do 100% disagree with that. And I want to hear from Tammar, because you're the lender, how easy is for somebody to want to buy right now, especially because the sellers are willing to pay closing costs and help with, gastos de cierre and all of that stuff.
So JC, it's super easier right now to get qualified. There's so many different programs out there right now available. And not just that, but if you're stuck in the interest rate, you just touch a key factor. Mm-hmm. It is that sellers are contributing with money. Los están contribuyendo con dinero, los sellers, entonces, los vendedores, entonces, ¿qué hacemos con ese dinero? Hacemos que podamos obtener el interés que el cliente quiere. Y ese interés lo está pagando el vendedor, no está saliendo del comprador. Entonces, ¿qué pasa? Que hace que el pago ideal, que es lo que quiere cada cliente, sea accesible.
Claro, y fíjate que me fascina que digas lo que acabas de decir, el pago ideal. Todos estamos enfocados por las noticias, porque pues desafortunadamente las noticias no las podemos dejar de ver, pero todos están enfocados, el interés. Y Jerome Powell, y la próxima semana es una semana que todos van a estar viendo a ver si va a bajar el interés. ¿Sabes qué? Lo va a bajar. Vamos a ser honestos, pero lo va a bajar medio punto, que eso no afecta el interés de préstamos de casas.
No afecta.
¿Verdad, Andrea? Explícame, por favor, cómo tú le explicas eso a tus clientes de que lo que él hace realmente no viene a afectar mucho en bienes raíces.
Ahorita es un buen tiempo para que la gente se case con la casa y después al largo tiempo refinancie el interés, porque eso se puede refinanciar. Como están diciendo, estamos en un mercado donde hay más, there's more inventory.
Yes.
So because there is more inventory and the homes are being on the market for a little bit longer than expected, sellers are willing to give contributions, and like Tammar said, those contributions can be used either for closing costs, to buy the rate down. So there's options for everybody out there.
Right. And Leslie, I see you shaking your head when there's a lot more inventory. You've been doing this for a while. In the last 3 months, we've seen that the inventory has risen up. When you're dealing with your buyers and you see that happen, how do you take opportunity to best negotiate for your buyers?
Well, when there's more inventory, there's more options for them. And so if it doesn't work out with one property, you can always just back out and go to another property, and it might be a better deal for them. So that's kind of like what I've done with my clients currently. For every single client that I have in escrow right now, I've been able to get them under list price and get closing costs.
Wow.
So they see me as a superhero right now, but really it's all due just to the market and the way things are.
Right. And I agree with you that when you say that, right, that right now because of the way that the market is.
Yeah.
But everybody's talking about that it's not a great market to buy, el miedo de comprar, la economía está mal y todo. And I'm like, dude, if you could buy, you should be buying now because the prices are not going to come down in the next 5 years. We know that the prices are kind of stable and they're going to push up. And Tammar, you as a lender, you have a lot of different programs that are accessible to the buyers right now that they could take benefit from if they just want to
buy a house. Let me touch base back on that where you said that it is a great market, and what Leslie's saying. We have a client right now. He got the house at least price, and the house came even value. The client is walking in with $10,000 over value in the house, and she was able to get a lot of seller concessions, get the rate that the client wanted. So that's why Leslie's saying, what is it that you want? We can make that achievable because it's a buyer's market.
And it's all in perception, honestly. Like,
Please.
you know, es como mires el vaso.
Claro.
Siempre, si lo miras medio con agua, or like, so todo es percepción, pero algo de bienes raíces que hemos aprendido durante todo este tiempo es que cuando tú inviertes tu dinero en bienes raíces, siempre vas a ganar. Porque in the long run, it's always going to appreciate and you're going to be able to, you know, come out on top.
Yep.
So,
O sea, me fascina que digas eso porque el porcentaje que sube todos los años en un mercado normal bienes raíces es de un 4 o 5%. Han habido casos donde ha sido 10, 12, 14%. Hasta cuando el mercado se vino en el 2008, que la gente estaba comprando sus casas en 30, 40 mil dólares, al año después había valor sobre esas propiedades. Entonces, bienes raíces siempre va a ser una inversión que siempre te va a dar un resultado a largo plazo. Ahora, si tú quieres comprar hoy y vender mañana y ganarte $50,000, it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's not going to happen. Pero es como dices tú, tenemos que ver el mercado de lo que la realidad es.
Sí.
Préstamos se están haciendo.
Sí.
Hay facilidades de que te están dando gastos de cierre. The sellers are willing to negotiate more. Even when they're sitting in the market for 4, 5, 6, 7 months, they're getting eager because at one point they need to sell the property, right?
Yeah.
And Leslie, how do you handle that negotiation knowing that the property has been sitting in the market? Are you a stronger negotiator, or you're like, well, let's not ask for this? You're gonna go for the jugular, right?
Right. I see that as an advantage when a property has been sitting longer on the market, because you're right, the seller might be more desperate or eager to sell. And so it's all about just also having that conversation with the listing agent, like, hey, what is it that your seller is looking for? Because sometimes it's not just about the amount that you're offering.
Right.
Sometimes they also need a lease back because they'll need extra time to move out. And so it's just about making that offer look stronger so that you beat out the competitors.
I love that. I love that because you need to have a conversation. And like you said, sometimes it's not just price, it's about terms.
Yes.
Right? You know, do they need to stay an extra week? Well, we give them an extra week.
Right, yeah.
You know, the other guys, I want to, $10,000 less. Well, yeah, but we're willing to give you a week to live for free till you find, so there's a lot of different tactics. The other question to you ladies is, are you guys seeing right now more people that are sitting on the sideline that are saying, you know what, I've waited enough and I think it's time for me to jump into the market?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah, we're seeing that a lot.
Tammar, please.
I always tell people, because whatever you couldn't afford last year, your job changed, you get more income, or right now we have a buyer's market, meaning we're getting more seller credits, meaning that we can actually achieve that payment that is going to get you the house that you want. Because we're going to try to, I always say, if you're working with a team that is working together, when Leslie sends out a contract, she just doesn't send it. She talks to me about it just like Andrea does. They talk to me and they're like, hey, Tammar, what do you think this is gonna work? And that's how it's supposed to be, and that's how we make things possible for the clients.
Right.
And I always say, whatever you couldn't afford last year, maybe this year you can, because your income is higher this year, or better opportunity in jobs.
Right. And that's the other thing, right? That, let's be honest, a lot of people don't know what they know. Right? I mean, I'm pretty sure that you guys as real estate agents get a phone call and saying, you know what, I don't know if I could qualify or not. And then you talk to Tammar and Tammar's like, they qualify fine, you know, or maybe they just need this done and they could qualify. Talk to me about that experience, about when people think they don't qualify, but then at the end of the day, they do fit all the requirements that they need to, because it's not really hard to qualify. You just have to have discipline, right?
Yes. So one of the things that I always tell my clients is the best way to know exactly where you stand in the home buying process is to sit down with me and the lender, and that way we can guide you through it, see exactly where your credit and your finances are at. Because like you said, there's people that might think that they're not ready because their credit's not at a 700. Well, little do they know they don't need to have a 700 to qualify for a loan.
Right.
So it's all talk to us, let us help you, let us guide you, and no importa en qué lugar en el proceso estés, we're going to guide you until, you know, you meet that goal.
I love that. I love that because, again, a lot of people just, they don't know. They know it's like, you know, you need down payment. Yes, you do need down payment, but there's options for the down payment, right?
They just go based off what they see on TikTok or Instagram. So no todo lo que miren en TikTok y en Instagram o Facebook es verdad. Hablen con un profesional que los guíe y les diga exactamente qué es lo que necesitan hacer.
Y muchas de las veces, ustedes como profesionales tienen que decirle a alguien no es el mejor momento para usted porque necesita mejorar su crédito. No necesita, ahorita comprar porque tal vez si tiene un poco más de enganche va a tener una mejor oportunidad. Y cuando le dicen así, lo primero que hacen, se van corriendo con el primero personaje que miran en social media y dice, ay, me dijeron allá que no te preocupes, yo te ayudo. Y después les dan un préstamo y los ponen en una situación. Leslie saying yes because I know that's just happened to you in the past, right?
Yeah, and it's sad to see because you know, you always want what's best for your client,
right.
And when you see those situations happen, you're like, damn. But
No, and it sucks. It really does suck because, you know, we all think we're professionals, but there's always somebody out there that says, you know what, I'm willing to put whatever I can in the line, and if it doesn't work, it works, and if it works, perfect, and if it doesn't work, oh well. But you're playing with people's emotions. You know, you're playing with the future of a home ownership, being able to provide generational wealth for their family. You know, and when they just don't take that care of saying, you know what, I am going to work with you and I'm going to grab you by your hand and then really walk you through the process so you could have a successful closing, that means they just don't care about the particular person, right? And I know Tammar is
yes, that's true. And, you know, it sucks that people see you as a number.
Yes.
You want to make sure that you work with people that are caring for you, that actually see a benefit, just like Leslie said, a benefit that is going to be for a long run, not for today, not for the instant moment. Because you're right, like, you know, I have said, hey, I'm sorry, I can't do this loan right now. Let's prepare for this. Let's game plan. And then they go with someone else, they close them, but then if you don't look at those documents correctly, you don't know what they're doing to you, especialmente a la raza hispana.
A la comunidad.
Sí, a la comunidad hispana le hacen muchas cosas. ¿Por qué? Porque no entendemos el lenguaje, los documentos no están en nuestro lenguaje. Y esos documentos son muy difíciles de leer. Y la mayoría de tiempo los prestamistas no se van a sentar a explicarlo. Si para en inglés son complicados, no digamos en español.
100% agree. Y estoy 100% de acuerdo porque es muy, muy importante tener a un profesional todo el tiempo, ¿no? Y yo sé que Andrea y Leslie tienen la mentalidad de que tú no eres cliente solo en el transcurso del préstamo, sino que años después, si tienes alguna pregunta, me puedes llamar, ¿no?
Yes, we're not here to make transactions. We're here to build relationships and, you know, help you grow your wealth for years to come.
Right.
So,
because it's important to understand that if you buy a property here in the United States, tu estado legal o tu estado migratorio no determina si eres dueño de casa. Y yo explico esto muy fácil cuando damos las clases de primeros compradores, de que cuando tú compras una propiedad y firmas la escritura, en esa escritura viene un derecho que es el derecho de ser dueño. Y ahí no te dice si tienes estado legal o no tienes estado legal, si también hay un montón de inversionistas de de otros países que tienen múltiples propiedades acá, y eso no importa. Tú eres dueño 100%, nomás puedes hacer los pagos de la casa. Y eso es algo que tenemos que entender, de que el pago de la casa es lo más importante. Como dice Tammar, si cambió tu trabajo y ahora estás ganando más, puede ser que califiques, ¿no? Y ahorita muchas personas están en el proceso donde dicen ellos, no sé si tal vez puedo calificar. Andrea, digamos que alguien te llama y te dice, you know what, I've been following you in social media, I don't know if I qualify or not. What is the process that you take them through to partner up with your lender to make sure that they understand what they need to do to get qualified?
Well, I would ask them what's making them think that.
Okay.
You know, what brought you to that conclusion that you're not able to qualify yet.
Perfect.
And then a lot of the times they'll either say like, well, my credit's not there, or, you know, I only have X amount of dollars saved up. So that's where I say, well, hey, let's sit down with my lender. Let's go over your credit and your finances, because until she pulls the credit and she's able to look into the deep dive into the finances, we won't be able to know how much you qualify for or give you the guidance that you need. We can't leave the blind, you know.
Right.
So yes,
Right.
we need to sit down. We need to look at that, and then once we look at that, we can better guide you and tell you like, okay, well, you know, like Tammar said, if you're looking to have this type of interest on your loan, maybe you need to bring your credit a little bit up, and this is what we can do to work on that, or we can better advise you after that.
Right. And Leslie, again, you know, 80% of the people that are looking for a home, they first contact the agent, which they should be contacting the lender, to be honest with you, right? But I know that your partnership with Tammar is really key because, again, right, just like Andrea, you have somebody that calls you and says, hey, I don't know if I qualify, or I saw your listing, or I saw your sign, or I follow you on social media, and I think that, you know, I think you could help me. But again, you're not the lender, but having the relationship between you and the lender, how key is for your client for them to understand that?
It's super important, and it's, I think, a key for a realtor to be successful. They have to have that trustworthy lender that they work with, because a lot can go wrong in a deal. And so when you have your people, and that not just lenders, but your inspector and your escrow officer that you trust, it kind of minimizes the amount of things that could go wrong.
Right.
And so also it makes it easier for you to go and ask questions, you know, when something new pops up, and having the client be comfortable and feel like they can go to you for questions.
Right.
It's very important in the transaction.
Right. And I love this because right now here in this podcast we have two realtors, a lender, and title, which is the whole transaction. Well, you know, minus the appraiser and the inspector and, you know, the underwriters and all the, you know, that 1,000 people that are behind this.
We don't want to have the underwriters here.
To make this
Right?
happen.
Because it, you know, because again,
There's a lot of playing parts.
Yes.
Important parts.
because even you guys as real estate agents, you guys have transactions coordinators. You guys have your brokers that if there's an issue when it comes down to a real estate contract, you guys just don't, you know, go to Google and say, hey, you know what, I have this issue, please tell me. You guys go to your broker, and your broker knows the law.
ChatGPT.
Oye, my Alexa's listening to me, I gotta stick with her, okay? Pero te digo, ustedes tienen también un montón de gente que está detrás de ustedes to make sure that we have a successful closing, right? And people don't see that. People don't see, they just see Leslie, they see Andrea, they see Tammar, and like, oh, that's it. But, you know, we all have many different people that are going to help us to guide us to get us to at the end of the day, which is a successful closing, which means we hand over the keys to the buyer and the seller gets his check. Because literally, that's what really matters at the end of the day, right?
Yes.
And it also matters to make sure that they're happy.
Yes.
Because we know a lot of people that bought homes before and they're like, I will never use my agent before. So talking about that, Leslie, what company you work for and how long you been in the industry?
Well, I'm with Realty One Group, and it'll be 4 years in January that I've been licensed.
Nice. Very cool. Andrea?
So I'm with Keller Williams,
Uh-huh.
and same 4 years that I've been licensed.
Very good. Y Tammar?
I am with Nevada Home Loans, and I've been licensed for about 4 years as well.
Very cool.
Oh, okay.
444. That's awesome because I tell you something. All of you guys got into the industry right after COVID or during COVID. and you guys have seen the market really change from everybody was buying, the interest rate was 3.5%, and now it's almost 7.25%. People are like, oh, I don't know if I should buy, and you guys are busy, you know. And Leslie and I were talking about this and said, you know what, it's incredible because you guys constantly are closing deals because obviously you guys have done a great job with your past clients because they keep on referring you people. How important is that referral factor, especially for you, Tammar, because you are the money person. You're the one that does the financing.
Ching ching.
Right? Ching ching. And if we get that wrong, the agents, they're like, right? Because it takes a village.
It is super important that the lender, I always say it is important that the lender has great customer service, because at the end of the day, the realtors are going to be the ones that they're going to get contact first. If they have referrals or anything, it's going to go through them. And that's the key factor. If the lender, it's not there and it doesn't have great customer service, most likely we're not going to get a referral.
Right.
Yeah, we're not going to get a referral because of that same reason. And a lot of lenders, you can't reach them after you close with them. I have clients calling me, texting me, sending me documentation. Like Leslie grandma, like your client too, Liz. She, you know, I love that because they have that trust with me.
That confidence.
Yeah.
They send me texts, hey Tammar, I got this document. I don't want to open it. I don't want to do anything unless you tell me. I love that because I'm protecting them from any scam. So that's where I feel I've done my job right.
Right. And I think it's really important because I think it's, you know, the people that are watching this podcast, they need to understand that you two work for two different firms.
Yeah.
Right? But the common denominator is Tammar, right?
Yes.
Because you guys both use her as a lender. And your business has been successful because Tammar does take that extra step.
Yes, she's very personable, and you know, I think within the Hispanic community, it's very important for them to feel like they can trust you and that you care about them. And I think that she does just amazing at that.
Right.
You know, so.
And also in reverse, Tammar, you're sitting here between them because you trust them as agents. Because when people call you and say, hey, I want a really good agent, you have a list of agents that are like, you know what? I know I could refer to Leslie and she's going to do a great job. I know I could refer to Andrea and they're going to do a good job. So the partnership is huge when it comes to this real estate world, right?
Yes.
And you need to be loyal.
That now you touch my favorite subject.
Okay, talk to me about that.
Loyalty to me is a key factor. I always tell my realtors I'm super loyal. I'm going to be, because I work for different lenders and I've seen everything, but I've learned a little bit from everything, and to me loyalty is a key factor. I try to be loyal to my clients, to my realtors, and if I get referrals, as soon as I get it, I go back and I see from who it is and I contact, hey, this person. A lot of people don't do that because just like you said, it's a referral. Hey, it's a good way to generate a new lead with a new realtor or somebody, but that's not how I work. So that's why I feel like loyalty, and also to the clients. I'm really honest to the clients because I feel like honesty is attached to loyalty. So I'm super honest with my clients because I want their loyalty. I want to make sure that we click and we're going to be working together to make sure that everything's smooth, and that's how they trust me. That's why they ask me for stuff whenever they get something in the mail or a text or an email, because of that trust.
Right. Now, let's talk about a topic that not a lot of people like to, discuss, because we're all professional in the industry. But I'm pretty sure that with the 4 years you guys have in this industry as agents, you guys have come across with other agents like, how in the hell do you keep your license, right? Where is your customer service? Because I know that as a title company, we deal with the buyer and the seller, the listing agent and the buyer's agent. And usually one side works a lot more than the other, or they communicate more. We can't get a hold of the seller's agent because, I don't know, they're on vacation, or we need a seller disclosure, or the lender, right? But I know that you guys as real estate agents have come across to an agent that is not really upheld his level of professionalism for the transaction. And that makes the transaction a lot harder for you guys as realtors, just dealing with somebody that is not communicating or is not being as flexible or is really, doesn't have the time for you guys, how difficult is to communicate that with your buyer, because he expects you to resolve every single issue, and sometimes you don't have the other party to resolve it. Leslie, I mean, you're not in your head, so
Yeah, I mean, I think we all end up coming across, agents like that at some point in our career.
yeah.
And it's just, I see it as an opportunity, to
Okay.
like learn and go the extra mile and to get that transaction to the finish line. Because I mean, just like there's really, not so good agents, there's really great agents that I've also worked with. And I see it as an opportunity for me to grow as an agent whenever I work with someone that, is kind of hard to get a hold of.
Right. And then again, you know what? And not that we want to bash anybody, but it's the reality.
Yeah.
I have a list of agents. I'm like, no, God, not this one again, because they'll pull that. They'll pull that. I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm like, well,
I'm more knowledgeable than you.
Times have changed, buddy. Everything has gone different, right?
Laws change.
Yes, laws have changed, right? And then the other thing is, we have to maintain professional, because at the end of the day, the bottom line is the buyer and the seller, they're our bosses, right? If you're representing the seller, they're your boss,
Yeah.
right? And yes, you could suggest things, but at the end of the day, they're gonna make the decision if they don't want to give a credit. How hard, Andrea, is to get those final points negotiated in a contract, where maybe it's a repair that needs to be done and the seller doesn't think it's a major thing, but for the buyer is like, oh, it has to happen. How can you go ahead and make that communication go as smooth as possible when sometimes the buyer is not getting 100% what they want, but at the end of the day, it's the best house for them? How do you manage that?
So I think it's very important to set the expectations from the beginning and let them know that if it's a cosmetic thing, it might not be something that they are it's not really required for the seller to fix.
Right.
It's only required if it's intervene with the functionality of like the home and stuff.
Correct.
So then but so far I have to say I've been very lucky. We've been very lucky to most of the times that we put in requests, they're always
Nice.
reasonable requests, so they do get repaired.
Very good. And that's good to know, because again, I'm assuming, and again, I know it's not great to assume, but I'm thinking that you guys have a previous conversation with the listing agent to make sure that before you write an offer, or you say, hey, you know what, we saw this couple of things, you think that the seller might be, willing to repair it. Having that conversation prior to with writing the offer makes it a lot easier?
Yes, it does.
Okay.
Having that communication is key, calling the listing agent beforehand and saying like, hey, we found this in the inspection report. This is something that, it's concerning to my buyer. And I think that that's key factor. When you constantly communicate back and forth, it makes it easier for the ball to roll.
Right.
So
You avoid a lot of extra paperwork.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Explain that, Leslie, por favor.
Because a lot of things have to go on writing in
Yes.
order for it to be
Legally.
legal, and so when you are able to discuss things over the phone and be on the same page, and then by the time you send out that addendum, it's like, oh, they know what to expect, and you know what
Yes.
to expect too.
Right.
You're setting the expectation from the beginning,
Yeah.
so
That-
it makes things go smoother.
That's awesome. So
Yeah.
now let's take it a step further. Once they're already done going back and forth with the negotiation, and they already got everything on paper, and all of a sudden that there's a 3% credit towards buyer's closing costs, Tammar steps in and says, okay, how we're going to use this money to better save cost to my buyer? What kind of conversation you need to have with your agents to make sure that everybody's on the same page with that? Because I've seen a lot of transactions like, oh, well, they gave 3% down. They should be coming with no money down. Like, no, you still have to come with some cost, right?
Yeah.
Talk to me about that.
Yes. So the down payment, always, it doesn't matter how much money we're getting from the seller. Down payment, you're always gonna have to come in with that. What the seller concessions are going to do are going to help us get that ideal payment, the ideal interest rate, because some people either they're stuck to the rate, right? I always say, don't get stuck to the rate. let's find that ideal payment, and make sure that you're just coming in with less money, meaning less money, just your down payment, not extra money. That's how we game plan, so we can help our clients make sure that they get the best deal. The correct rate.
Salud. Wow, hasta aquí se oyó.
I was like, are we kidding? Are we killing a little piggy after this? Are we having lunch?
Right.
I'm hungry. That's probably why. It's breakfast or lunch?
Somebody's making bacon.
Brunch.
Oh, it's brunch. That's right.
But it's true what you're saying, Tammar. Having the buyer understand the whole process, because all they see is, está reduciendo de precio. Me están dando cierto dinero. I should not be coming with no money. It's like, no, you still have to come with cost. There's still things that you need to be aware of. That's why it's important for everybody to know that there has to be money in the bank. And again, and I'll throw this question to any of you guys that want to answer it. If there's money in the bank, don't touch the money.
Right.
Correct.
Yes.
Do not touch the money.
Don't open new credit lines. Don't finance a new car. Don't co-sign for your family or friends.
Right.
Please wait until the transaction is finalized.
Yes.
Until we close, at least a month after. I don't want to come knock on your door and say, hey, buddy, sorry, you got a new debt.
Yes.
This transaction can't go.
Well,
it's really important that no new debt while you're in the process of buying a house.
Yeah, because again, I have a story that I like to tell, that there was a transaction done, and of course we and again in title we get the cancellations, and then all of a sudden this cancellation order came in from the buyer and said, hey, we need to cancel the transaction. Why? What happens? Like, they don't qualify anymore. Like, what do you mean they don't qualify? Yeah, my lender did such a great job. She told them they had great credit. They went and got a $5,000 credit line at the furniture place, and now it's another debt income ratio went off, and I'll have Tammar explain that, and now we can't qualify. So they ended up having $5,000 worth of furniture and extended their lease for another year because they couldn't not close. So again, and I know Andrea's talking about don't get any more debt, but the debt to income ratio is really, really important, and nobody really explains how that's calculated or why is it so important. Tammar, can you please break that down for us?
So the debt to income, it's really important. Why? Because we're gonna take how much you make, how much debt we currently have, and new debt we're gonna acquire. Because people are like, oh yeah, I could afford this house.
Right.
Yeah, you can, but let's look at your debt. Because maybe you feel like you make a lot, but your debt is a lot as well. So we calculate all that. It's a lot of factors. It's the rate, it's how much your insurance, property taxes. Remember, an association, we live in Vegas, most of the communities have association. All that is a huge factor into your payment. So we're gonna calculate all that, and with the debt that you already have, sometimes it's debt that maybe you have the funds to pay for it. We can do that. There's different ways that we can structure to make sure that is gonna work, but sometimes people don't listen, and it's really important that we guide you by the hand and you listen to us, please, because we don't want you to get a new debt. Not because we don't want you to have cool furniture in your house or a cool new car. Just wait until we get the house, and then after, I didn't hear, but it's up to you, whatever you do.
I love it because Andrea's like, yes. Because you agree 100% with her, right?
100%. Yes.
And explain to people again, right now, this is the lender, and the people that are listening are like, oh, well, that's just a prestamista, de que no quiere que agarre nuevo préstamo. But for your agents, I mean, to be able to now come in and tell once everything is like halfway done and you're like, they don't qualify anymore. I mean, it's a very stressful situation for you guys as real estate agents to try to get the earnest deposit back if we need to get it back, right?
Yes.
So explain to me that scenario so people can understand.
So, about the earnest money deposit?
About the earnest deposit, yes.
Okay, so that is a deposit that they make in good faith, you know, to show the seller that they are really interested and, to move forward and purchase a property. So, yes, we do have contingencies that protect that money, but like you said, and I think it's more heartbreaking, like when you have to come back and tell them because they're so excited to move in and, go forward with this really big purchase, you know, it's a big goal.
Yep.
So when you have to come back and you have to let them know, like, hey, like, unfortunately, we won't be able to move forward with that because now the numbers are different, you know?
Yeah.
So that's a bummer for them. It's more for the client
Right.
than it is for us.
No,
right?
and I like it because I see that Andrea, you know, does feel the emotion of, you know, it's really horrible to give those bad news and saying now you can't buy, because I mean, and Leslie, I want to hear from your experience. These people already, you know, canceled their lease.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
they've already put so much time and effort, like, you know, because
Yes.
it's not like buying a pair of shoes.
No.
So this is a big investment.
Yes.
There's a lot of playing parts. You've already did all the work. I mean, from, you know, finding the home that you absolutely love to getting into contract. So, I mean, you just got to be a little bit patient because
Right.
you already did so much work. So why are we going to throw it away?
Right.
So, you know?
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think that's where the most important part of our job comes in, where we have to educate the client to avoid things like that happening. But sometimes they still happen. And so that's where you also have to, I guess, make sure that you have to keep track of your deadlines so that
Be
you
the mom and the dad.
Yes. Yes. The contingencies to, you know, make sure that your client is always protected.
Protected.
That is a great point. Your dates.
Yes.
Yes.
Because you have, I don't know, 45, 60-day escrow?
Sometimes
That's a
shorter.
lot.
With
Sometimes
Tammar,
shorter.
you can
Well,
close in
20 days.
Yeah.
15 days.
Listen.
Excuse me, Jesse. I'm
Listen.
sorry. You're dealing with the wrong lender, okay? Hello, people. No, contact me, okay? The number's going to be dropping.
Right, yes. We're going to put your numbers in there. But listen, I'm aging myself because back in my day, escrows were 45, 60 days, 85 days, you know,
They're
depending.
still like that, so it's okay. I got you.
But also, when I started in real estate, the earnest deposit was $1,500. Now we're looking at $5,000,
Yeah.
Yes.
$7,500. So, you know, times have
20,000.
changed.
1% of the listing price.
Right, 25% of the listing price, right?
1%.
Oh, okay, 1%.
1%,
But
yeah.
you know, like Leslie's saying, the dates of the contract they
Those
don't
are
change.
important. No.
And get a little bit more in details about the dates, because you know you got the right. You have the meeting of the minds. You have when people agree and say, okay, you know what, this is going to be the final sales price, and then literally that's where the stopwatch starts.
Yep.
Right. So what are those key dates that you as agents need to be aware of, that also the lender needs to understand? Because if they miss the appointment of the appraiser, now we're outside of appraisal contingency, and that could kill the deal.
That never happens with Tammar.
No, it never happens.
Good.
She's quick. She's quick.
Good. So explain to me those
Just
dates.
a side note.
So I guess the first one would be the due diligence, where
Okay.
the buyer could back out without really giving a reason. And I think that one really helps buyers with like cold feet. So you give them that reassurance, like, hey, like if you change your mind within this number of days, it's totally okay. You still get your money back.
Right.
And then the second one would be the appraisal contingency, which is now you're working more hand in hand with the lender, and you're by that point you're like halfway through.
Right.
And then the last one would be the loan contingency, just to make sure everything is going to be approved and you can actually get to the signing.
Right.
And keeping track of that is just, I mean, I always, right when I enter under contract with the client, I put all those dates as reminders on my phone so
Nice.
that I don't forget. And I put a reminder 2 days before and then the day of.
Oh.
That way, you know,
You stay on top
I
of
stay
it.
on top of it in case anything, you know, is iffy. I can still, you know, have time to save my clients' money.
Yeah.
Right. And Andrea, you agree with that?
Yes. And then I also like to share those dates with my clients so they know, like, I tell them these dates are important. Please mark these dates. And then, yes, it just helps everybody stay on board and just know the importance, you know, of meeting those deadlines.
Those dates are going to be your most important dates, because we want to make sure that we get all that situated so we can get to the closing table. And appraisals are always important because we want to know what the value of the property is. That's when I tell clients, you know, some clients might want to waive that or waive the inspection, right, Leslie?
Yeah.
No, you don't want to do that. I know it's an
No.
extra expense, but it's protecting you. It's protecting you. So please.
Andrea's like, no, don't waive
Not
the
the inspection, because the inspection is optional. You don't really, the appraisal is not optional. That one is required, you know? But the inspection, you don't want to waive it because you want to know what you're walking into. So you don't want to walk into a property and then be, you know, filled with surprises in the long run, because then te vas a decepcionar.
Pero Andrea, yo tengo un compadre, el famoso compadre, que es contratista y you know, he's a roofer, pero es contratista y él me va a inspeccionar la casa. So, no necesito gastar los $300, $400, $500 de la inspección porque me va a inspeccionar la casa. But,
Traiga al inspeccionista y el compadre. Doble inspección.
right?
Sí,
¿Por qué?
no, es importante porque ellos son profesionales y pues están educados para accesar estas inspecciones, y ellos van a decirte, ellos van a mirar cosas que no se pueden mirar con el ojo,
Right.
nomás así. So,
Y al fin del día, ellos tienen licencia.
sí,
Que el compadre no la tiene.
No la tiene,
Y
exactamente.
tiene aseguranza, porque el día de mañana que hay un problema, Leslie, you could just talk to your inspector, right?
Yeah.
And then you have that liability issue away from you, right?
Right, and a lot of the time, those repairs that come up can be negotiated, and you don't even have to take care of them. The seller will take care of them, so it's in
Yeah.
your benefit to get a home
yeah.
inspection.
Right. Pero va a venir el compadre y te digo, he's gonna say, oh, there's a shingle that looks like it's been, we need the whole roof to be repaired. Like, no, that could kill your deal. So don't, be careful when you invite people
I
to
think
come and inspect.
The best advice here is stop listening to the compadres and listen to the professionals. Listen to the ones that have the license, guys. Like,
Yes.
you know.
Sí, porque decimos aquí nosotros en los programas, decimos, el compadre ha comprado una casa y el agente viene Raíces ha vendido 25. O ¿a quién realmente vas a tener la máxima experiencia?
No
¿No?
ha comprado ni una casa.
O no ha comprado ninguna. Y nomás no quiere que compres.
Sí, no quiere, el compadre no quiere que usted compre.
Right.
Porque después no lo va a invitar a la carne asada. Ya ve por eso.
That's right. So it's really important to get the assessment from the professionals.
Yes.
You know, y a mí me fascina esto porque obviamente, como les digo, ustedes dos trabajan para dos compañías muy diferentes, pero utilizan a Tammar. Tammar las utiliza a ustedes como profesionales, y eso es bien importante, que dice mucho en esta industria, porque hay 14,000 agentes de bienes raíces allá afuera, y estábamos hablando de esto con Leslie. Half of them, or more than a third of them, they haven't closed a transaction in the last 6 months. And you guys are closing. You guys are closing clients. You guys are putting people under contract. You guys are creating generational wealth for your clients that nobody else is out doing it, because you guys are taking care of the business. And the business is going to take care of you guys. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
And it's really important for people to understand, the people that are watching right now, that acérquense a los profesionales, no les tengan miedo. Si llaman usted a Leslie o llaman usted a Andrea, no es como que ellos van a llegar, los van a raptar, los van a meter en el carro y ahora vas a firmar y comprar una casa. No, you guys are gonna give them the information.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
That's a- no.
Okay, they're right. Sorry.
But you know what I mean? So, si alguien está interesado and somebody wants to go ahead and get a hold of you, how can people get a hold of you? Andrea, let's start.
Okay, so they can reach me in my socials. So
Yes.
my Instagram is Drea_PNC. Or they can shoot me a text, give me a call. Phone number 702-630-8572.
There we go. Leslie?
So
Same, my handle on all social media platforms is Homegirl Leslie.
Even TikTok?
Even TikTok.
Even
Oh,
TikTok.
Yes. For those TikTokers. Okay.
Yes.
And I get my phone number is 702-358-4004.
And Tammar?
So I'm only on Instagram because, I'm the lender. I can't be on TikTok. So. No, I'm just kidding. But you can go and visit me. Well, search me up on Google or Instagram at loans_by_Tammar, or at my phone number at 702-901-9342. Call me first, okay?
Yeah. and that's another great tip, because, there's still people out there that want to have a conversation. I get this all the time. And again, I don't mean to bash anybody, but you know who you are. When I call, it's like, for a faster response, please send me a text. Like, no, you're not going to respond.
You're not going to talk to Maria.
Yeah.
And it's annoying, because I've heard of situations with especially buyer's agents that they show up to the house, they open up the lockbox, and somebody took the key. right? So you have no access to look at the property, and then you're trying to get a hold of this.
And then they're like, can't come to the phone right now, and it's like, we're kind of in a sticky situation. You know,
yes, or like, you know, or like send me a text and like, this is the third text I send you, please respond, right? And
you
again,
just need that one code, just, you know, so you can get in or something.
Yes.
Yeah, sometimes the Wi-Fi doesn't work when you're out there, so it's hard to open the lock boxes. So you need a one-time code, and you're just trying to get a hold of them.
yes.
So
it is important to be accessible in this industry. I tell people, because I have agents that I'm seeing all the time, and you know, they get a phone call and they're like, oh, and then I'm like, you're not gonna answer that? No, I'm gonna let it go. I'm like, dude, you should answer that. Because you just never know. I know we're I mean, it's an hour. We could go ahead and
said that.
Yeah, but you know what I mean? It's like, you know. But you know what I mean, right? It's the accessibility that we provide. And sometimes, you know what? I mean, I've done signings at 10 o'clock at night because that's the time that, you know, the person was getting off of work, and I will meet them at, you know, their home because they were going to be at work at 6 o'clock in the morning again.
We've done meetings with clients at 8 o'clock.
Yes.
So, yes.
This Realtors make me work, okay?
Yeah.
We're making it work.
Yes.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why you guys are selling homes.
Yeah, because we're flexible. We're there for clients. We're available. And I always say, if you pick up your phone, you're going to win, because that could be a potential client or somebody that really needs, or a referral.
Mm-hmm.
You never know.
Yeah, I had an agent that sent me a question during the weekend. It was a 3-day weekend, and I responded to her, and she's like, "Oh my God, I didn't mean to bother you. You're working." I'm like, and my motto is, hey, if you're working, I'm working.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Right. I mean, you know, it's just part of what we do, because we live in a 24-hour city. We live with people that don't have 9-to-5 jobs all the time, or they live Monday through Friday. You know, we have people that, you know, the only day off is that one Saturday, and it needs to happen, right?
If it is Friday, 10 p.m.
You'll answer from the club. But you'll answer, right?
I can't hear you right now. You like the song though.
Yeah. But you'll answer. And the bottom line is, again, right, you make yourself accessible to the client.
To the client, yes.
Because they are the most important thing in a transaction.
Yes.
That buyer, that seller is the one that's going to pay for all of us. And let's be honest, unless he closes, we don't get paid.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And we want to make sure that we provide the greatest service out there for them to be happy. I asked you yesterday when we were having lunch, I said, you know what, and Tammar was a great example. She goes, you know, I bought a house from my agent and I haven't used them again. And there's a reason why, right? There's a reason why. What we want to provide is you and us as partners, we want to provide the greatest service out there, so that buyer could say, you know what, call Leslie, man.
Yeah.
Call Andrea.
Make them comfortable to when they do encounter,
Yes.
you know, an objection, or they have a question, they're willing to call us.
Yes.
And let us help them find a solution to their problem or the resources for it.
Yes.
So,
because again, if we don't know the answer, we're going to go and find it.
but this is why it's important to treat, you know, they're not transactions. These are relationships that you're building.
Yes. Yes.
So that's
Yes.
important.
And it's really important for them to get that feeling that they could trust you from the beginning, right? Because you have that one transaction that you feel like, you know what, this guy never really liked me, or this guy never really trusted me, right?
I don't want to work with people like that.
You don't?
I tell people.
Okay.
I said that's my lingo every time. I said, hey, I want to make sure, and even with realtors, I always say I want us to have a good relationship.
Right.
Like
Yeah.
I want you to count on me like I'm gonna count on you. I want you to trust me like I trust you. And the same thing with the client. I said, hey, I think that we're gonna be married for 30 days. Okay,
Yes.
then we're gonna get divorced. It's not gonna be a nasty divorce, but we're gonna be married for 30 days. Okay? I said, and I want you to like me just like in the honeymoon. That's the honeymoon stage. Okay? So I always tell clients that we're gonna be married for 30 days. Let's get along. I want you to trust me, and I want us to click.
Yeah.
I said it because if we don't, I'm okay with you working with someone else.
Yeah.
I think that's a great statement, because let's be honest, sometimes our buyers, I mean, you know, there's a saying out there, and, you know, again, I hate to use it, but it's out there, you know, buyers are liars. Right.
They're cheaters sometimes.
You know, no, de verdad, and it's sad, because you run through all kinds of people in this industry, and all you want to do is just really help them, and when they're not being truthful with you, let's be honest, it pisses you off, right?
It hurts a little bit.
Look, Leslie es la más callada de todos, and I want to hear from Leslie, right? Because she's like shaking her head like it happened.
Because story time. This year, I had a friend that was interested in buying, and you know, they got pre-approved, and I started showing them properties. Turns out their lender was also licensed to be a realtor.
Oh.
And all of a sudden they were like, you know what, we're just gonna stop. We're not interested anymore. We're gonna take a break. And I was like, okay, like I didn't really question it much because
You trusted them?
Yeah, I trusted them. They were my friends. And then next thing I know, they ended up using that lender as their realtor.
And I've had it different, you know, where it's like I had friends that I thought, you know, hey, because, you know, I keep in touch with them and then we build a relationship. And then they end up telling me like, hey, they want to come and ask me questions, but then they're like, oh, like, yeah, we're working with this realtor. And it's like, oh, no, like, that's not ethical. Like, you know, if you already have a contract and you're in this far in the process, like, I'm sorry, but you have to contact your agent because, And
it's, again, it's important for people to understand that, because if you're not getting the right service from the agent, that's shame on you, because you should interview them. You know what I mean? You should interview them. And I understand Leslie's point that, like, you know, I'm working with them, I'm showing houses and everything, and all of a sudden, oh, I want to start working. And then, you know, 3 weeks later, you see the Instagram page, hey, look at our house. And you're like, what the hell? I am so sorry, but it happens.
That's why I work with Tammar, because she's not licensed to be a realtor.
And I won't. I don't want to be a realtor. I'm okay. People say that I could probably be a good realtor. I don't know. I love being a lender, and that's another thing.
Yes.
Jesse, be careful when you are working with a realtor and he's your lender or she's your lender, because how do you know they're looking for your best interest?
100%.
How do you know? You don't, because they're going to tell you, I'm giving you the best deal. How do you know? You can't ask the lender. Hey, lender, is it true that this realtor is doing the best for me? Because she's the lender or he is the lender. So always work with somebody that is just licensed as a realtor and someone that does loans, because they know what they're doing. They're just doing loans. You can't be doing two things, because loans and real estate, it's really complicated. I wouldn't recommend it.
I mean, it's as simple as this, as I know that, because, you know, I think you guys are professional enough, and you guys have shown me enough that you guys are professional. You guys will not represent the buyer and the seller in the same transaction as realtors.
And
Why?
this is because then you're not working on your client's best interest. Then it becomes like you're working, you know, you're representing both parties, and it's like, it's hard to, you don't want to disclose everything to, you know, the seller, just like you don't want to disclose everything to the buyer. So I feel like it just puts you in a tight position where you just,
Pero Andrea, es doble comisión. I mean, you know, I want to make twice as much, but the headache is not worth it, right?
But this is where building relationships is important, you know, and I think it's not worth it, and it's important for us to collaborate. Like, you know, me and Les, we're in different brokerages, but if, you know, if we're in a situation like that, I can always call Les and be like, hey, Les, like, you know, I have a seller or the buyer, will you represent one of them? So then I think that's just better, because at the end of the day, it's all about our clients, you know, and
for that, you deserve one of these.
Yes.
So, I think that's more important.
I agree. And, you know, the relationship that you just mentioned, like, you have Leslie. You trust Leslie.
Yeah.
And you trust probably 6 more real estate agents. And after that, you're like, oh, okay, I need to get to know you. But you know Leslie's going to do a good job, and they're going to represent to the best of her ability the other party, and vice versa, right? I mean, I could definitely, you know, say that freely, because you guys are very professional in what you do. We all stay in our lane. I mean, listen, I've been doing real estate for 22 plus years. I've been a realtor, but I let the realtors do their job. I let the lender do their job. And when it comes to title, I do my job.
Yeah, because it's a lot. It's a lot of working pieces. There's a lot of things that goes behind the scenes.
Yes.
So it's important that everybody, you know, comes together to make it happen, but that we're all in our own lane.
Yes.
You know, we're focused on getting our part of the job done.
Right. So Leslie, in your experience in the past, you know, dealing with that dual agency, you know, do you agree with Andrea? Do you not get involved with that, and do you just rather refer the other party to like that so you could be sane? Because I tell people, one real estate transaction is bad enough. Having to represent both parties, you're insane. I'm sorry, but you're crazy. You're asking for a lot of issues.
Right, yeah, and it was actually a topic that was just discussed at an office meeting last week, and everybody was on the same page that you shouldn't represent both the buyer and the seller, because when you list a property, your responsibility is to that seller, and it creates a lot of conflict that
of interest.
Yeah. So
Yeah. Now let me ask you a question, and this is a question to the realtor agents. You guys are mostly buyers agents. You guys like dealing with buyers. What's the difference to deal with a seller? How would you make that difference from the seller side to the buyer side?
well, I've only worked with one seller.
Okay.
And
you said that's enough.
No.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
And honestly, it was like the best case scenario. That transaction was so smooth, and even though the property had solar panels, like it was.
Wow.
And I think it had to do a lot with the market as well, because it was a seller's market at that time.
Of course.
And so, but yeah, I don't think it differentiates much. It's just you communicate the same way as long as you're, keeping what's it called? My brain just.
Yes. No, you're good.
I lost it somewhere.
You looked at me, and that's why I
Yeah.
The deadlines, just keeping track of the deadlines, and I think that you'll be solid regardless.
There's no difference.
Okay.
So at the end of the day, we're here to serve both.
Right.
We're here to work with both. So
There's no really difference. I feel like the realtors, if they represent buyers or sellers, they're just out there to represent the
because at
client.
the end of the day, we're working for a client,
Right.
and we're looking out for their best interests. So it doesn't matter whether you're a seller or you're a buyer. We're still going to work as hard for you as and go the extra mile. So
Yeah, that's good, because I have agents that are like, I don't want to deal with buyers. I'm just going to deal with listings, and that's going to be my thing. And then I have people that are like, you know what? I'd rather just deal 100% with buyers, because let's be honest, new home buyers are a lot of fun, because you're providing for them a future. You're providing for them generational wealth. And when we get to that closing, I love to celebrate them.
But that buyer eventually, they're going to
Will
buy
turn into
another home.
yes.
So then they're going to become a listing.
Yes.
And they're going to be purchasing, maybe their dream home, because you got to keep in mind that first home might not be your forever home.
That's true.
So that's important as well.
So I guess at the end of the day, and the moral of the story is, you got to keep good standing clients that
Yes.
eventually they will refer you and say, hey, you know what? You helped me buy my house 3 years ago. Now I want to sell it, and I want to buy another one. And you want to be that real estate agent. You want to be that family agent, right? That's what
Right.
you're really hoping for. And you want to be that lender.
That's our goal.
Yeah, because also
That's
as
what we're here for.
yeah, because
So-
also as the lender, you want to be able to help them purchase, but then when the interest rate comes down, you want them to call you and say, hey, I want to refinance, right? Because right now you have a program that's a refinance program, right?
Yes. So let me go back on that, Jesse.
Please.
I usually always try to give my clients the best rate possible, because, of course, I believe in refinance. I think it's a great method to do it. But if you don't have to, if I could give you a best deal right off the hand, then hey, why not? But I know that there is a lot of people out there, and a lot of lenders put you in a down payment assistance programs. They're amazing, but at the long run, they start getting a little bit too much in there. So we have a great program right now for refinances. We're doing way better than the feds are gonna do. We're doing 90 basis points off the rate.
Wow.
90 basis point. I'm getting clients right now in the low 5%. Refinance, get you out of that second lien. So give us a call. Okay, give us a call. If you call them, they're gonna call me. Okay, so it's okay. But give me a call so we can save you. I'm refinancing a client right now, saving them between $800 to $1,000
Oh,
a
wow.
month. So
Wow.
give me a call. If
Now,
that's
this-
you, call me.
So this is something that your company is doing.
Only my company is doing, and it's going to be ending in September 16.
So you definitely you want to jump on
Better
this.
call me
Yeah.
right now, because I've heard, and this it's UWM, one of the biggest bank in
Yeah.
America.
Yeah, I know who they are.
Yeah, so they're doing this, and Matt Ishva is saying, hey, I don't know what feds are gonna do. I don't know if they're gonna cut the rates, but I'm giving you and your clients an opportunity to make sure that they lower the rates.
Right.
That they get out of that second lien. If you're trying to get cash, hey, why not? You know, I was able to get a client, stay on the 5%, keep him at the payment he wanted, and he got $120,000 in equity. So give me a call.
That is good. That is really good news. That's really good news because right now everybody's hoping that the rate and like I said, we talked and we could just do a whole hour about the vet rate, and people don't understand that, you know, Jerome Powell, he's just the voice, but there's like 14 people behind him making decisions.
Yes.
And everybody shoots him down, but I'm like, no, they're trying to make sure that our economy doesn't go to, you know, doesn't go bad. So that's a great program. So again, if somebody wants to get a hold of you, how can they get a hold of you?
So again, you guys can search me up with Tammar Hernandez in Google or also in Instagram, or give me a call at 702-901-9342.
Perfect. And also they could call Andrea if they need to, and you could go ahead and give
They can call Leslie. If let's say you want to buy a new house, you want to refinance, leave the house as an investment, give me a call. Let's plan for a future for you.
I love the way you think.
Yes, it's because that's what it is. It's all creativity and, you know, finding ways and solutions to make it happen for the client.
Yes.
So I feel like that's why we work so well.
Yes, and listen.
Where there's a will, there's a way. And we're determined.
There we go. And I love that. And you know what? Also, nosotros los Latinos right now, we are the #1 buying power in the United States. It's, I mean,
that's awesome.
And yo los miro, right? They're the young Latinos. We were talking about this with Leslie. You know, they're under 30 years old. That the mom and dad are saying, no se van a meter a comprar carro. You're going to buy a house first.
Yeah.
And then you could buy your house, and then you could get married, and then you could have kids and everything. But no, you must buy your house. And the young generation Latinos are buying properties, even if it's a condominium, even if it's a small home, but they're buying.
Yeah.
So,
well, I think that now, you know, there's a lot of first generation. Like our parents came, they kind of had to figure it out on their own, and obviously they have more experience, so they're guiding their kids to a better path.
Agreed.
So.
Agreed. Well, ladies, you're not going to believe this, but the hour is gone.
Oh my gosh.
Wow. Well, until next time, guys.
Yes.
But if you guys have questions, give us a call.
Definitely.
Yes.
So, well, I'm going to offer this to you ladies, but I think that we could do a segment out of this to have you guys come in and, you know, just, you know, monthly or bi-monthly, however you guys want, whenever you guys have time, could come in and just give us update of what's going on. Maybe, you know, Tammar has different programs out there. Maybe you guys
I would love that.
You know what?
Yeah.
Maybe you guys have good deals out there that you guys have seen and said, hey, you know what? I showed this property and the buyer didn't want it, but it's a great deal. You know what I mean? Well, we could set that up. So are you guys down with that?
Yeah,
Yes.
I'm down
One
for
more
that.
thing before we
Please.
go. I also have a down payment assistance program with just 1% down payment. So if the house is $350, you only need $3,500 to qualify for that house. So give me a call. I'll go over details, exactly what it is, because remember, different scenarios, different people, different stories. So let's find the right story for you and the right house.
I love it. I love
and then
it.
one other thing is that when these programs are out or these opportunities are out, you do want to check and you don't want to wait until being informed is crucial.
Yes.
Because you can't compare a story of like, oh, my cousin bought a house 5 months ago or 3 weeks ago, because the market is constantly changing. Programs are constantly changing. So like the best time for you to buy a house is whenever you're ready.
Yes,
It's
100%.
Yeah.
Dime lo que si el mercado no cambia, because talk to the sellers now that they think that they're in power. It is not happening anymore, and it's changed in the last month and a half. In the last month and a half, it has shifted towards the buying power. The buyer has it, even though the sellers don't want to lower their price, but the buyer has them. So the market changes every day. Every day. So again, ladies, we're gonna start with Leslie. Name, company you work with, how can people get a hold of you, and then one quick little tip before we go.
Oh, okay. Leslie Rodriguez, Homegirl Leslie on all platforms. Phone number 702-358-4004. And a tip, I guess, just get informed, get educated before you purchase or sell.
Perfect. Tammar.
So Tammar Hernandez and Google or Instagram, and you can reach me at 702-901-9342. And a quick tip, make sure you always shop for different lenders, because someone else might have a better rate for you.
Yep.
Oh, I love that.
Andrea.
Andrea Ponce with Keller Williams. My number is 702-630-8572. And you can find me under Drea_PNC.
Perfect. Well, ladies, I want to thank you guys for coming out, sitting down with me, and we're going to make an episode out of this. We're going to go ahead and make a sequence of this, so I really love it. I love the energy. The energy was fun, definitely. So thank you.
We had fun. We enjoyed it. So thank you for inviting us.
Thank you, Jesse.
Yes,
Thank you.
you got it. Well, you know, I'm JC Castillo. You could go ahead and get a hold of me at 702-416-4302. You could follow me on social media at JC Castillo Rep. And again, remember, Mr. Buyer, Mr. Seller, you guys have the right to choose the title company. So if you guys want great service, we could provide great service here at Equity Title. I love the fact that you guys are listening. Please, if you guys like the show, give us a thumbs up. If you guys do not like the show, let us know why, and we will definitely make sure that we fit whatever your needs are. Again, thank you guys so very much. Take care. Please behave, because it's easy to behave. It's a lot easier to get in trouble. So make sure that we behave, please. And we'll see you guys in the next show. Take care of each other, and we're out.